The Mitsubishi Xpander is one of Mitsubishi's best-selling models. They're so popular that if you drive one, you're more than likely to find yourself in an Xpander convoy. Like there would be an Xpander in front of you, behind you. I swear on certain days they're just everywhere. Now I was one of those guys who didn't get it before. If you look at the spec sheet alone, it seems very outdated. And in some ways, it actually is. But ever since I drove the Xpander GLS, I think I get it now. Why it's so popular among certain Filipinos. Now this right here is the top spec Xpander. The Xpander Cross. It's still the same formula, but with some spice added to it. Is it worth the money? Let's find out. The Xpander Cross is Mitsubishi's attempt at making the Xpander look more rugged and more outdoorsy, and I think it definitely works. It looks more muscular than the regular Xpander, and even though it has the same 220mm ground clearance, I think it actually looks taller. So the front fascia looks very different. Here at the front, it gets this more robust looking bumper with this protruding portion over here, which gives the vehicle a very strong jawline. Over here are the LED DRLs, and down here you have your T-shaped LED headlamps. By the way, the pre-facelift Xpander only came with halogens, so these are definitely an upgrade. You get this gloss black grille over here and fog lamps down here. So one major difference between the Xpander Cross and the regular Xpander is that the Xpander Cross comes with bigger 17-inch wheels, while the Xpander GLS only comes with 16s. This also comes with these flat black fender moldings over here, and also these black moldings on the bottom of the car, which make the vehicle look wider and more rugged. You get these power folding side mirrors finished in chrome with repeaters, this chrome accent on the window line, and these door openers. By the way, this has a smart locking system, so you can lock or unlock the vehicle without having to get the key out of your pocket. Just press this button over here to lock the vehicle and press it again to unlock it. Now this only works if you have the key with you, so not just anyone can unlock your vehicle. So one more difference between the Xpander Cross and the regular Xpander is that this comes with a two-tone finish. The roof and the pillars are finished in gloss black. It's just weird where the two colors meet over here. It feels like there's a ridge. It feels like it's a wrap. Maybe it's a wrap. Feels like it, I don't know. You got these sturdy roof rails up here. Here at the back, like the GLS, this also gets drum brakes. Actually, everything underneath the car is the same as the regular Xpander. The same suspension, the same mechanicals, the same engine. All variants of the Xpander get the same 1.5-liter naturally aspirated engine, which puts out 103 horsepower and 141 Newton-meters of torque. Like the regular Xpander models, this also gets a 4-speed transmission. A lot of the differences here are cosmetic. I'm not much of an MPV person, but as far as MPVs go, I think this looks pretty good. Here at the back, the Xpander Cross also gets a more robust looking bumper with this full skid plate down here. The taillights are the same, they're LEDs. You get a rear wiper over here. Now, like the Xpander GLS, the Xpander Cross also comes with a manual liftgate. Okay. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing, as all Japanese and Korean MPVs in this class come with manual liftgates. With the third row up, you can fit a medium-sized luggage bag and a couple of backpacks. With the third row folded, you have 750 liters of cargo space, which is a lot. With all the seats down, you get a completely flat flooring and enough space to probably fit a fridge. This interior definitely looks a lot better than the pre-facelift Xpander. On the pre-facelift Xpander, everything was made of hard plastic and you didn't even get a center armrest. Now you get a lot more soft touch materials, like these panels over here are covered in leather, the sidings are covered in leather, and you now get a center armrest which is nicely padded and leather wrapped. This is still made of hard plastic and this, but at this price, I'm not really going to complain about that. Now, one important difference between the Xpander Cross and the regular Xpander is that the Xpander Cross is the only variant that comes with leather seats. Now the advantage of leather seats is that they look good, they feel good, and they're a lot easier to clean. Now imagine spilling coffee on a fabric seat. That's gonna go through the foam. It's very difficult to clean. Here, you just wipe it off and it's not gonna penetrate through the leather. Both front seats are manually adjustable as expected. You get a leather wrapped steering wheel. Over here you have plenty of buttons, including cruise control. This gets cruise control, unlike the Veloz and the Avanza. Another important difference between the Xpander Cross and the regular Xpanders is that this is the only variant that comes with a fully digital instrument cluster. So the rest is basically the same. You get the same infotainment screen. This has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Both are wired. You get a reverse camera, but you don't get active guidelines. Single zone climate control, and thankfully you get physical buttons over here. One USB port over here, one 12-volt outlet, an electronic parking brake without a hold, a physical shifter, and you get a push start button. Now this is not the most high-tech in its class, but it's just high-tech enough for its demographic perhaps. Like your average Tito probably doesn't care about adaptive cruise control or lane keep assist or a wireless phone charger. But whether you're a techie or not, you will definitely appreciate a reverse camera, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, a push start button. So these are the basics that I think a Tito will need. Personally, I would prefer to have ADAS in a vehicle, but I understand that there's a segment of the market that is scared of tech, and this is probably the vehicle for them. Now in terms of storage, this has plenty. The glove box is absolutely massive. It's not dampened, but at this price, I'm not going to complain about that. You have a lot of storage over here. You can put your phone there. You also have a couple of compartments down here. You have plenty of storage underneath the armrest. You can see that's pretty deep. And you have this secret storage underneath the passenger seat. Not good. Here at the back, space is pretty good. Legroom is okay. And I have a lot of headroom. Like, that's isang dipa. Like 7 inches of headroom. You get a foldable center armrest with 2 cup holders. It is padded and it's leather wrapped. You have one USB port over there, one USB-C port. And up here you have aircon blowers. They just suck the cold air from the front and blow it towards the back. You also have fan speed controls over here. Yes, overall it's not a bad place to be. Okay, so like the Xpander GLS, the Xpander Cross is a 7-seater. Yeah, so the second row seat, the passenger side second row seat folds forward for easier entry. Just be careful with their feet. Okay, so yeah, in this position I don't have any knee room at all, and the seat is not even reclined, but the second row seat can be moved forward. The flooring is flat. You just have these rails over here which can make foot placement a bit tricky, but overall it's not really a bad place to be. Headroom is pretty good. I have about 2.5 inches. Over here you have one 12-volt outlet, one cup holder over here, and another one on this side. Now you don't have aircon vents up here, but you have 4 vents over there which you can share with the second row passengers. The Xpander is one of those cars that looks worse on paper than it does when you actually drive it. It has an archaic 4-speed transmission. You have just a little over 100 horsepower. But once you get to drive it, it feels better than it looks on paper. For one, it's quiet. NVH noise insulation is pretty good. Better than a lot of its Japanese competitors. The ride quality is also pretty good.
Turn right.
And the 4-speed transmission makes the Xpander feel more responsive compared to its competitors which have CVTs. You get a more immediate response.
Meters.
I'm gonna step on the gas now.
Turn left.
I mean, it's not quick, but you don't get that rubber band effect that you get on CVTs. Now on the highway, because you only have 4 gears, it's not as good as, let's say, the BRV. Now when you're at highway speeds, it is still okay, although you do get a bit more road noise. And the 4-speed transmission runs out of gears at higher speeds. At 100 kph, you'll be doing around 2,400 RPM, which negatively affects your fuel economy. So if you plan on driving at 100 kph on the highway, it's not going to be as fuel efficient as something like the BRV, but it's still very fuel efficient. But when you're just on Skyway doing 60 kph to 80 kph, it's still very fuel efficient. I was able to get 19 to 20 kpl on the highway. Also, while 104 horsepower is more than sufficient for overtaking at city speeds, at speeds of 80 kph and higher, overtaking becomes a pretty slow process. Let's give it a bit of gas. Let's pedal to the metal. Like I said, it's
800 meters. Turn right.
Like I said, it's not quick, but okay. The Xpander is completely devoid of driver assist features. Even the more basic ones, like blind spot warning. But then again, I can imagine the target market for the Xpander, and I can see them complaining about beeps from blind spot warning and lane departure warning, and then asking how to turn those off. For me, the most important ADAS features are adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, and autonomous emergency braking. And the only mainstream MPV that comes with all those features is the BRV VX. And that one costs over 100,000 pesos more. Now this does not feel as premium or as quiet as Chinese 7-seater crossovers like the Jetour X70. Compared to those, this still feels a bit more utilitarian and more budget-oriented. But compared to other mainstream MPVs, I think the Xpander drives pretty well, especially in the city at moderate speeds. The Xpander Cross sells for 1,328,000 pesos. At that price, it competes with the middle spec BRV, the top spec Veloz, and the top spec Stargazer. The most feature-packed of those is surprisingly the Veloz, with its wireless charger, 360 camera, and autonomous emergency braking. The Xpander though has the highest ground clearance, and if you frequently drive through flooded roads, you might appreciate that. The Xpander offers a lot of what your average Tito would want. Lots of space, lots of seats, high ground clearance, good ride quality, good fuel economy, and rugged looks. And it doesn't offer features that Titos probably don't care about, like decent acceleration and high-tech features. Personally, I think the sweet spot in the Xpander lineup is the GLS at 1.19 million pesos. The 130,000 peso price difference might be a bit much to pay for leather seats and cosmetic upgrades. Also, that price gap puts it closer to the BRV VX, which has full ADAS. But in the end, it really boils down to your needs and preferences. If you want the leather seats, the rugged exterior, you don't mind missing out on some tech, and you're not yet ready to get a Chinese brand, then the Xpander Cross is not a bad MPV to have.